I'm not high maintenance. I'm high investment, and there's a difference. I'm 48, and I feel better now than I did at 28. And I'm not going to pretend that those two things are unrelated. Judge me. Your hormones, your metabolism, your sleep, they have that secret meeting. You're not invited. She had no idea that she'd grow up to spend $1.3 million on her fucking face. And the real reason she did it, the real reason starts in that. Looking good makes me feel more valuable. I know you're not supposed to say shit like that out loud, but I'm saying it anyway. And I have spent over $1.3 million proving it. I know, Linda, no, listen. You're like, what did this bitch just say? I swear to God, the face, the body, the hormones, the skin, $1.3 million. And honestly, I stopped counting because I needed a drink. But today we're going to get into it because here's the thing. I don't regret it, but not for the reasons that you think. Hi, friend. I'm Cynthia Garcia, and this is I'd like to thank myself. So today I'm going to tell you what $1.3 million actually bought me and what it didn't. Ready? Let's get into it. Now, before I tell you what it bought me, it's important that you know where I started. You see, I did not start with $1.3 million to spend on shit. I grew up in a house where our rent every month was $25. $25. It's this little house in the Appalachian Mountains that had 4 rooms. You walked in and there was a living room that had this kind of threadbare, dark gray carpet. So living room, 2 bedrooms, and then there was a kitchen, but you had to go outside through a screened-in porch to get to the kitchen, which meant in the winter, that shit was cold. So what we would do is my mom in the mornings would go in and she would put the oven door down on the stove and she'd turn it on to heat the kitchen. And we'd give it maybe 20, 30 minutes, and then we'd go back in and go on about our business, right? So this is how I grew up. 4-room little house with a kitchen you had to go outside to get into and an outhouse in back because we had no running water. And even though it was $25 a month, there were months that my dad couldn't make the rent. And so instead, he would do repairs on the house, right? That was the exchange. That was the deal that he had with the owner at that time. Now, juxtapose that with a package that I got in the mail this week. I had spent $300 on a serum, and I opened it up and I thought about that little house. I thought about that $25 a month rent, and I realized what I paid for this one little smink of a serum would have paid our rent for an entire year. Crazy, right? Like the girl who grew up in that house, who walked through a frozen screened-in porch every morning to get into the kitchen, she had no idea that she'd grow up to spend $1.3 million on her fucking face. No idea that it would be one of the best decisions she ever made. And the real reason she did it, the real reason starts in that house. Listen, I'm not going to lie to you. I have always cared what I look like. Like I told you about the story of the boy in 7th grade that asked me why I was so ugly. Remember that in an earlier episode? If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. You'll get the full scoop. But growing up with nothing, I would look at people on TV, rich people, right? People on Dallas and Dynasty and Knots Landing, as my mama would watch those kind of nighttime soaps. And I would think if I could look like that, everything in my life would be different. Maybe people would see me differently. Maybe I would feel different. I wouldn't have to feel like I was worthless every day because I didn't have any money for nice clothes or, sometimes the bare necessities. I thought if I could look like those women, I would be treated different. I would feel different. And it turns out I was right. When I look good, I feel more valuable. I know it sounds kind of fucked up, but it's true. I move different. I be different. It is a completely different experience of reality. And again, you're not supposed to say that. You're supposed to say that it's all about the inner confidence and self-love, and none of it has anything to do with what you look like. Okay. Sure, fine. Love the shit out of yourself. I happen to love the shit out of myself, and I look good. So, yes, love yourself. And I spent $1.3 million dollars on my looks. I'm 48 and I feel better now than I did at 28. And I'm not going to pretend that those two things are unrelated. Judge me. And I know there's different schools of thoughts, and there gets to be. It's completely okay for us to feel differently about this. We have one side of the line over here that says, age gracefully, embrace your lines, be grateful, glow from within. Amazing. The other side says, fuck that. Give me the serum, the treatments, and the procedures. Can I get them all done on Thursday? So again, both of these sides are fine. We all get to choose a lane, and that's cool. But the truth that nobody wants to say out loud, is that looking and feeling like yourself after 40 costs something. It costs time, it costs energy, and yeah, sometimes that shit costs real money. And pretending otherwise leaves women feeling crazy for wanting what they want and spending what they spend. But the spend itself is never a mistake. Like, I remember this one time I went to this bar. I was in my early 20s, and this, I almost said idiot. This fella, this fella walks up to me and he says to me, and I could tell he's drunk as a skunk. You know how like their eyes glaze over? You can just tell he is like lit. So he walks up and he says to me, "You look like you're high maintenance." Swear to God, I was like, oh Lord. I'm not high maintenance. I'm high investment, and there's a difference. So 1.3 million, I think if I just keep saying it enough, it won't be real. Or maybe somehow I'll find peace with it. I don't know. Anyways, I spent that money over 18 years. Let me tell you where it went. Because again, you've asked. So, and before you do the math and feel all the things that you want to feel, I just want to say this. I built businesses specifically so I could afford this. This was not accidental. I didn't marry rich or any of that, whatever. I'm essentially white trash who decided very early on that looking and feeling good was worth working for. So I worked for it. I pay for it. Here we are. So let's break this down and let's start with skincare, my favorite. So I spend about $1,200 a month in my morning and afternoon routines, my skincare routines. But I want you to keep in mind, one, I also get some shit for free because I'm a skincare founder and I founded the company Rewritten that makes the serum show the face up. I made the product that I most wanted. It's a 4-in-1 formula, so I don't have to go pay for all the others. And I get that for free now. So, girl math, technically I'm making a little money back there. And the other reason I say that is I'm a skincare founder. I'm a formulator. My face is the lab. So I'm testing clinical grade products on my own face before anyone else uses them. I'm doing research, right? That $1,200 is essentially R&D with perks. And even if it wasn't, who cares? Now, I also have weekly treatments and devices. So I use my masks, I do dermaplaning, red lights, devices. If I went through and added up all of those that I buy, say in a year, and kind of broke them down by the month, it's about $206 a month. The $6 is important. For makeup, it's around $200 a month. And again, I love makeup. I just love to use my face as an art project. I have a lot of anxiety, so it tends to be kind of like therapy for me. So cool. I just like being creative. I also do art and I paint and all of that, but this again just happens to be on my face. So makeup's about $200. My hair every 4 to 6 weeks when I get it done averages, $1,100 to $1,500, and that is for color and extensions. Body care, grooming, and nails is about $500 a month. So those are kind of some of the high levels. Then there's hormones. I know. So I have a doctor that I work with on an ongoing basis. This is not just hit it and quit it, not a one-time thing. So I work with her. I see her fairly often. I have compounded prescriptions made specifically for my little snowflake needs because apparently my body just can't take a normal pill like a normal person does. I don't know. I do labs to make sure everything is balanced. Those tend to get expensive. And I'll tell you, I mean, this is the most expensive group project that I never signed up for, right? This whole thing with perimenopause. It's like your hormones, your metabolism, your sleep. They have that secret meeting. You're not invited. And in that meeting, they decide that they are going to redistribute your entire budget without even asking if that's okay. So now, suddenly, the money that you were spending on regular maintenance isn't enough. Again, now you've got labs, now you've got prescriptions, now you've got compounded things just because you're different. I don't know. And here's what I know to be true: you can't outdiscipline unaddressed hormones. I don't care how clean you eat or how hard you train. If your hormones are running a rogue operation without you, nothing else works. Literally nothing. Now, getting this right is some of the best money that I've ever spent. So that's hormones, doctors, that kind of thing. Then I have injectables and procedures. I could go off on this. There's so much that I have to say. As a matter of fact, if you want to see a full monthly breakdown of what I've spent, and again, you asked for it, you can grab my free guide. I'll drop the link here in the description and the comments. Go download it, take a look. I'll walk you through it. But for now, let's get on with it. So, injectables. I do Botox, some filler, sculpture, all of the things, and some other procedures and facials. It's right around $3,800 a month. Some of it is amazing. Some of it was a hard $34,000 lesson I did not see coming. I swear to God. Okay, wait, I have to tell you this story. Wait, I'm going to tell you this story. Hold on to that idea. Yes, $34,000. I can't. Okay, I'll come back to that. But first, I spend total, with everything I've told you and a lot of stuff I haven't, because we'd be here a really long time. I spend between, I calculated it, $7,600 and $8,400 a month. It's close to $100,000 a year if you just want to use round numbers. And again, feel however you want to feel. I feel really good about it. So you feel how you feel. Now, I got to tell you about the $34,000 lesson. Okay, so this was years ago. I had been following this celebrity doctor for a really long time, a celebrity injector known for sculpting some of the most famous faces in the world. And I'd been quietly watching their work, saving posts, thinking someday, as one does, right? And then one day I wake up, I looked in the mirror, and I just didn't recognize myself anymore. You ever have that feeling? Like I was worried that I might not ever see the reflection that I knew looking back at me. And I told you I had anxiety. Trust and believe that shit kicked into high gear that day. So I thought, okay, today is the day. I was like, I am not going out like this. So I called the office. I booked the appointment. I put down a $500 deposit just for the appointment, right? And then it gets credited if I actually decide to go through and have work done. If I don't, it's just money that I spent, showing up. I don't know. So the big day comes. I get there, I drive, I park, I go in. And when I walk in, the waiting room looks like a hotel lobby. I mean, it is stunning. There's chandeliers and marble. The staff looks like they stepped out of an issue of Vogue. I mean, you can't make this shit up. It's in Beverly Hills, like it's the whole 9 yards. So I'm shown into a room. A PA comes in and does the full intake. She's like, what do you want to fix? I'm like, fucking everything. She kind of writes everything down, draws on her little paper that has a little face on it. The whole thing is marked up. And then she leaves, and another woman from the office comes in, and she has a whole price breakdown, right? Different options based on the type of filler and how long it's going to last, which is not how you pick filler, by the way. Lesson learned. But anyways, whatever. I didn't know. So I picked the one that lasted 5 to 7 years. She said, these will last about 3. These will last 5 to 7. These are more expensive. And I said, fucking that, right? The total is $34,000. I think it was like $32,000 for the other ones. I was like, no, I'm going for it, $34,000, because then it'll last longer, right? I think this is an investment. And truly it was. It actually really was. So I see the numbers. She leaves me alone to think about it. I hope she's bringing me back a shot of tequila. She doesn't. But when she comes back, I tell her the one I want. I give her my credit card. I still have not even seen the doctor yet. True story. I just paid $34,000 and haven't even met the doctor, but I'm trusting. I'm trusting the process, right? Anyways, then another staff member comes in, puts numbing cream on my face. I wait 30 minutes and then I wait another 45 minutes. So many times I have thought, I'm leaving. I'm not doing this. But he's supposed to be amazing. I've gone this far. I think what's another 7 hours? Fuck it, whatever. So I stayed. Finally, finally, he comes in and it was like the second coming of Christ by this point. I'm so anxious and so excited to actually meet this man. So he comes in and we don't talk. He just gets to work. I mean, there's needles and poking and he's super fast, right? All the work. And he does his thing. Like, I'm not going to lie. He went over every piece and part of my face. It was just like, bzz, 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 bzz. It was a whole thing. I drive home somehow and I'm in a daze. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? I pour myself a hot cup of tea. I couldn't even drink wine because of all the shit in my face. And I sit down by a fire. I'm super swollen. I look like a puffer fish, but I could tell the results were going to be great. Now, I looked like a monster. I'm not going to lie. I mean, my face was like misshapen. It was crazy. Somewhere I have these photos. I have to find them. And my results were great. They were great. A few days later, when the swelling went down, I was like, damn, I'm a hot bitch. I was like, I look good. It was so good. I would have done it over again a million times. But the one thing I will say is it felt very transactional, right? I mean, even the way I've explained it to you and told you the story, it's kind of a transaction, right? And maybe that doesn't matter to some people. You're like, I don't give a shit. But to me, it mattered, like, I don't know. I like good service. I like an experience. So to me, it mattered. But you know what? Whatever. I got my face. Life is good. All right, fast forward. A couple of years later, I wanted a few things touched up. Now, I could have gone back to that doctor, but I thought, why not look around? Because I'd been following other injectors and following their work. And this one in particular, I saw her work. I loved it. I made an appointment. I went in. I didn't have to put any money down. And she was amazing. I showed up. Everyone was professional. I got an amazing treatment, amazing results. This person was equally talented, but a completely different energy. Fine. But I also understood in that moment, and don't get me wrong, the provider matters more than the procedure, I would argue. And there are a lot of extraordinary providers out there, but you don't have to pay stupid amounts of money to find one. And that's the point. Pay to get a qualified person. Don't ever skimp on the provider. That, trust me on that. But after a certain point, you're just paying for their publicist. It's just the truth. So I paid $34,000 to learn that. Good times. All right. So the through line across all of this is none of this was, oops, I blew all this money at Sephora. Every dollar was a decision. I chose to do it. I chose confidence over lack thereof. I chose prevention now over trying to fix things later. And despite everything, all of this, the time, the money, the stress, the anxiety, you name it, there are still days I don't feel hot. I know, not even close. I know I'm all done up right now. I'm looking good. But there are days, not so much. I mean, the other day, I woke up, going to the bathroom. I saw my reflection, and it didn't feel like a good investment. In that moment, I felt like the before photo. But I did the damn thing anyway. I did the skincare routine. I went through all the processes, not because I felt like it, but because this is who I'm choosing to be, even when the math doesn't seem to add up in the mirror. Plus, okay, we're friends, right? I'm also going through some shit right now, so that didn't help. I know it's true. The biggest identity shift of my life is happening right now. I don't want to get into it, but it's happening and it's super uncomfortable. Yes, but trust and believe I am navigating it while wearing a red light mask at midnight. Now, I want to be really clear about something. If you hear $1.3 million and think this bitch is crazy, absolutely not. I'd rather have property, investments, a retirement account, a quiet life in sweatpants with a good moisturizer from Target. I love that for you. Truly, I do. I am not recruiting you to the church of 1.3 million. No, I don't got time for that. There are women, you might be one of them, who feel completely at peace letting Mother Nature do her thing. No red light masks at midnight, no hormone prescription roulette, no $34,000 lessons. Truly, that's beautiful. That is a valid choice. What I'm here to do is stop pretending that this whole thing doesn't cost what it cost. For the women who are choosing it, who are spending real money and real time and real energy and feeling alone in the process because nobody talks about this honestly. I want to talk about it honestly. I want you to know you're not crazy, you're not shallow, you're just making a choice that most people make quietly and then act like they didn't make. So own your choice. That's the bottom line here. Whatever it is, and I'll own mine. So what did that $1.3 million actually buy me? I mean, there's the obvious answer, right? Better skin, better hormones, more energy, a body that cooperates most of the time. But here's the real thing it bought me. When I look good, I feel good. I kind of feel like I've made it, like I did something. Like the girl who walked through a frozen, screened-in porch every morning to get to a kitchen that her mom heated with an open oven door, made it. Like she did good. And that feeling, that specific feeling, makes me want to keep going, keep pushing, keep seeing just how good it can get. It's not vanity for vanity's sake, even though I am vain and I fully admit it, but it's proof. It's proof to myself that transformation is real, that where you start is not where you finish, that the story can always be rewritten. Listen, I want the energy to build what I'm building. I want to be present for my daughter, Rain. I want to be the 70-year-old who is sharp and independent and still on her shit. Most women pay in exhaustion, resentment, slowly disappearing from their own lives. But I decided I'd rather pay now in money and discipline and hard conversations with doctors who actually listen than pay later in regret and missed years and a body I stopped believing in. The truth is, everything cost something. I just chose what I'm willing to pay for. Now, your number might be $100, $10,000, might be zero. The point isn't the price tag. The point is choosing what you're willing to pay for and just owning it. Or not. The choice, as always, is yours. I am sharing my price tag because I released an episode here a few weeks ago called The Actual Cost of Staying Hot as Fuck at 48. And several of you asked for the receipts. So I told you I would do an episode. Here she is. As I said before, if you want the full guide where I break down exactly what I spend every single month, you can find the link for that in the description. So, a toast. Today, I am raising a glass to the girl who grew up in a house that cost $25 a month to rent, who walked through a frozen screened porch to get to a kitchen that her mom heated with the oven door, who had no idea she'd grow up to spend $1.3 million fighting for the version of herself she always knew was possible, with doctors and serums and needles and red light masks at midnight, and every single ritual and routine she could find. To the woman I am now, in the middle of the biggest identity shift of her life, still choosing this. And to you, whatever your number is, if you are choosing yourself on purpose, I salute you. This one's for you too. To who we were, to who we are, and to the icons we are becoming. For that and so much more, I'd like to thank myself. Cheers.